My name's Meigan Henry. I've been involved in the Whalebone series, producing, writing, and editing. And this series has been 4 years in the making. So many people have been involved. And for this behind the scenes episode, we wanted to reach out to a few of those folks to ask them your questions. So to start, here is Mike deRoos and Michi May, and they are the husband and wife team behind the whale skeletons. Michi didn't go on location for the Calvert humpback skeleton, but she was very much involved behind the scenes. And we had a few questions for the two of them, like, what's it like to work together on these skeletons?
I think it's great, to be honest, because the work is so weird and out of the box and unpredictable. And we totally are on board with each other and understand, what the stresses are and what the exciting bits are. And we can share all that because we live together and have life together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of the time I feel badly that, Michi often is the one that stays at home and I get to fly up somewhere and go away for a week and come back with a whale skeleton. And
I'm glad you think about that.
So that part's tough, but it's great to be able to share these projects, as a team and as a partner.
Yeah, and he comes home from a whale expedition stinking like you couldn't believe, and I understand where that's coming from, and I know how to cope with it. I do not let him near the house, and we have a very strict protocol. So he comes home, everything comes off outside the door. He has to wash his hands before he touches any doorknobs, and then it's just a very, very long cleaning process after that. And if it's just so bad we can't deal with it, then the clothes just disappear completely.
What about your kids? What do they think about your job?
I think they've grown up thinking it's really normal in some way. So having whale skeletons buried throughout the property and, going on these expeditions and coming back smelling really bad.
Yeah. Our oldest daughter, when she was younger, a friend came over and saw this whale skull hanging on the wall in our living room because we've been storing it there. It was like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. What is that? And Mia says, oh, it's just a killer whale skull. My dad's got 4 more in the shop. Let's go play Barbies. Come on.
Yeah.
Some people wanted to know, Mike and Michi, what skeletons are on your bucket list?
I've always wanted to articulate a cougar skeleton for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. We've done repaired a couple of narwhal tusks,
Mm-hmm.
and we actually put together the skull of a narwhal that had been hunted, but it had 2 tusks coming out, it was a double tusker. I would love to put together a whole narwhal skeleton. I think
Mm-hmm.
with a male with a big tusk sticking out of its head. They're just really neat things.
Another question that came in is, what is the strangest request you've ever received?
I think maybe one of the strangest ones, someone contacted us and let us know that their beloved cat was getting kind of elderly and
he was very passionate about his cat,
wondering if we put together pet skeletons, so he could have his cat in his, sitting in his house forever. I think it was a budget thing. We told him how much it would cost to do that, and then we never heard back.
And lastly, what's next for you two?
I think regarding what comes next, it's always a question to us whether we're going to have to grow up and get real jobs one day. So we're not totally sure. There's a lot of people behind the scenes who are supporting us in our work. We have very supportive parents who often will take care of our kids while we go and retrieve a skeleton. Mike's dad will actually sometimes come and clean our gear up for us after.
Well, and not only that, but they've been quite involved. Our parents have been quite involved in a lot of the projects over the years.
Yeah, and we often have friends who step in and come and will help us dig a skeleton up, and then they usually don't come back again, but but people are always enthusiastic to try one.
Yeah.
We have a few amazing volunteers who've been coming and working with us once a week for years, and they make such a big contribution to what we do. And Katie, Like, what would we do without Katie?
Yeah.
Speaking of Katie, several of you are wondering how in the world she landed her job.
I chose at the age of 18 to go to VIU to get my C ticket in welding, and started off as an industrial welder and just gradually got more and more creative and started making lots of sculpture and art through that. I heard that Mike was hiring a welder. He needed help on the skeletons, and through my connection, my father is John Ford, a world-renowned whale biologist, and I'm an experienced metalworker, and there's such an artistic component to the work with whale skeletons that it was a perfect fit. It was a huge learning curve, and it was a little nerve-wracking to start because you don't want to damage the bones. But he was a very patient and very informative teacher, and I'm so grateful for that.
And Katie, what's your favorite part of the job?
What I like most about this job is bringing these whales back to life. We give them the most beautiful postures, and they just look like they're alive again. And I love seeing all that hard work come together. There's a lot of pride in that, and we get to honor their bones, and people get to see them and fall in love with them again.
I also got to reach out to Dr. Stephen Raverty and Paul Cottrell of DFO, who were fresh off of another whale necropsy and a successful humpback whale disentanglement. And the question you had for them was, how many whale necropsies have they taken part in?
Over the last 25 years, I've had an opportunity to participate in about 200 to 250 postmortem examinations of small, large whales.
Whoa, that's a tough one. I'd have to, it's a lot, but probably a small number compared to Dr. Raverty. I would say well over 100 necropsies. We are extremely busy. You would say maybe we don't have lives outside of what we do, but that's okay because, I mean, we do have really some of the best jobs in the world and we love what we do. We're very passionate and most people in the marine mammal feel that, or I would say everyone that does research or rescue is very passionate and cares. And it can be difficult where you're dealing with multiple dead animals and also with mass live strandings are very difficult as well, where you have animals die right in front of you. That can be difficult and something that, we're lucky in that we have a small group that's very tight that we can talk to each other, where you do kind of get a little bit down where you're dealing with a lot of death. But it's extremely important for management. A number of large whale species that we have on our coast in British Columbia are at risk, whether they're special concern, threatened, or endangered. And for many of those species, both entanglement and vessel strike are anthropogenic or human factors that are impacting recovery. So the more we can find out about that and detail that with these necropsies, the better. The public is very important, the eyes and the ears, but folks on the water that walk beaches, we want to hear about a large dead whale immediately and an entangled whale. It's so important for us to get there quickly. Having said that, we don't want folks to interact with a large dead whale because there are pathogens. You have to have the proper PPE and it can impact the necropsy. And the same with a large whale towing gear. It's very hard for some folks that they want to help and they actually get involved and start cutting gear off. That's the kind of the red line is to not get involved with a large whale entangling gear because it's really dangerous. But please call us and from afar keep an eye on the animal until we can locate. So it's so important.
And last but not least, I spoke with Jackie Hildering. Jackie never appears in the series on screen, but she was involved behind the scenes in helping to fact check the scripts. Jackie is a humpback whale researcher and co-founder of the Marine Education and Research Society. Jackie has spent countless hours observing and identifying humpback whales here on the BC coast. The question I had for Jackie was, what makes humpbacks so compelling?
What makes humpbacks compelling is it's one of the few species where we get to have a second chance and remember mistakes made and where we choose to go to from here. We so often, I think, get stuck into thinking we're bad, we're stuck in doing these horrible things to the environment, and that can lead to people disengaging. It can lead to paralysis and overwhelm. But no, we used to overtly kill humpbacks, and now we care about them as individuals. And that shows that how quickly we can change when knowledge replaces fear or ignorance. So what I would hope people to know about humpbacks is that we do have this second chance with them, that they're incredibly important to the ecosystem, that they are experiencing threats. And of course, we're all making decisions, consumer decisions and voting decisions that impact not only how many vessels, how much noise, where are the vessels, but also in what is happening to the ecosystem in which we are connected directly to whales. Who are we going to be? How are we going to modify our actions? And I do really believe that if the whales are okay, that our own species is okay as well.
On that note, I want to say a quick thank you to everybody who is involved from this series. And thanks to you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the series. I'm going to leave you with a teaser for season 2 of our upcoming series, Long Story Shorts.